Good evening, everybody. So let us start our class tonight. And according to our schedule, we will review object-oriented programming, collection classes, and generics. Okay, so we discussed something about object-oriented programming in our previous classes, and I believe everybody has at least some concept about object-oriented programming. So we will start from there. And we will discuss collection classes and generics. So these are not as we just added in this semester. There is no slides for this. Okay, so we will add this slide. But what I did, I sent you some links through announcement. So if you go to your section 1D2L. Okay, so if you see the announcement, then you will see I posted an announcement with collections and generic resources. So these are good enough. I think we will follow. Okay. We are learning class object-oriented programming. Okay, so object-oriented programming is a new paradigm of programming. There are a lot of things in object-oriented programming, and day our compilers, Java, C#, C++, our compilers are getting rich and rich. So are being enriched by the developers. Okay, so with some built-in libraries and built-in classes, with built-in methods, other stuffs. That if we know to use those stuffs, then our programming life will be easier. Although in our theory classes in computer science and software engineering, we will learn how to develop a programming language to solve a problem using a computer programming language, or we will also in minor cases we will also learn how to develop a new what's called data type or class. So we can easily develop applications. So for instance, we are discussing in our program, let me go Repl. Okay, by the way, everybody knows how to work on Repl, how to create an account on repl.it. Anybody has an issue? Okay, so for short program we will discuss with Repl, but sometime we will discuss with Eclipse and C# with Visual Studio. Okay, so whatever programs we discuss in, let us come open a program that we discussed in our last class. Okay, for instance, in this, by the way, sometimes I mean class, mean by lecture. Okay, sometimes I say mistake maybe. Sometimes I say class, that means I want to mean lecture. Okay, in our last lecture we discussed this program. So we created an array. Our array was named grid, and this is a two-dimensional array. Okay, so has anyone any issue with working with two-dimensional array? Okay, so in our lecture slide, you see that we have a lot of slides. So you see two-dimensional array. If you open these slides, so there are very in details. There are many in detail demonstration how a two-dimensional array works. So if you go through all of these, you see one by one this way. Okay, so I think this point, I believe everybody is familiar with two-dimensional array. Two-dimensional array is required if you want to develop a game, surface board or something. Or for many kind of programming, we need to use array. Sometimes one-dimensional array, especially. Okay, so maybe notice that there is a limitation. There are some limitations of regular array. Can anyone please help me to tell by mentioning some limitations of an array? Have you ever found? Yes. Yes. What else? Yes. Okay, that is not limitation of one data type, because an array, it says you have to be one data. An array is a collection of a group of similar data. Okay, so it must be data must be one type, similar type. Okay. So in this array, for instance, here. So let me okay. So here this it says when this is a rule. Maybe you will see this in one of your quizzes. Okay, so here if you want to declare an array, then you have to give size of array. But when you assign value the time you declare, then you do not need to give size. If you give size over here, then it will make an error. So here, what is the size of this array, by the way? Can anyone please tell me what is the size of this array? The dimensions. Ask him. 3 by 3, right? Like this. Okay. So if you wanted to declare your array like this, in one line, first line, just declare your array like this way. Then if you want to assign your array, for instance, grid equal to how do you say? Is it working? By the way, okay. So then you have to give this way. So here 3 by 3, for instance, we are not giving this way. So you have to give size. But if once you assign values to an array while you declare it, then you do not need to keep its size. For this array, we have size 3 by 3, right? 3 rows and 3 columns. So that one of the limitation is that while you are running your program, then you cannot change the size of this array. You cannot put more elements than 9 elements. So there is a possible problem that, for instance, if you do not predict your element data size, and then maybe you may be out of memory, or will be some misuse. You will be misusing some. Instance, if you thought that your array, your data will be large data, okay, large data, there will be a maybe, for instance, 300 row, 3,000 or 3 million rows, columns. Okay, but ultimately you do not get that number of data size. But in this case, your computer program still will occupy this number of rows. Okay, or sometimes otherwise, on the other hand, suppose if you declare an array with 3 by 30 by 3, in your program actually you have more data, more rows. then you cannot use this array to fit in all of your data. That is a possible error, possible issue with this kind of array. This is called static array. These are called static array. So modern object-oriented programming languages like C#, Python, Kotlin, these languages allow to have dynamic array. That means you do not to assign values, assign size of an array. Size will raise or shrink dynamically at the time you run your program. Okay, so in modern programming languages, there are some libraries, built-in libraries, okay, that contain some built-in okay, that we in general we say collections or classes. The collection classes mainly contain some other subclasses. Okay, those are used or interfaces. We will discuss. Those are used to declare and use dynamic array. For instance, one of the dynamic array is called ArrayList. Okay, so instead of declaring an array, if we declare, we use an array list, then you do not need to be worried about your array size. Your array size will be increasing or decreasing automatically. This is a great advantages. Okay, by the second half of this course, we will discuss how to create this kind of dynamic array. We will discuss how to create linked list, stack QE, kind of dynamic data structure. Actually, these are dynamic data structure. But for now, we believe that there are some lab works or assignments. In order to implement those assignments, if you know how to use these collection classes, then your life will be easier. A shortcut you can do. In this, that is why in this class we want to spend some time to give you idea about this dynamic array. In general, these are called. One of the collection classes is called ArrayList. Okay, an ArrayList stores object of any kind, any type, like an array. Okay. However, there is no need to specify the size of the array list like with an array as it grows automatically. You understand? So, useful class in the collection is ArrayList. Okay. So, if you do Google search, if you do a Google search about collection classes, then you will get a lot of information. Therefore, I did some Google search and I found these, for instance, collection classes in these are the good, I thought, good tutorials or documentation from Microsoft and Oracle websites that if you follow this, then you will be able to working with collection classes. Okay, so let us start with Java first. Open this for Java and later we will do C. Okay, so if you do go this how to do in Java, this website, you see that this is the class hierarchy, Java collection class hierarchy. On the top, collection class. How do we know that it is a class? A class start with an up letter. You see the C, collection C is in uppercase, so this is a class, and this collection class subclasses, we will discuss subclasses later on in next week. So it has set, list, QE, DQE, okay, something like this. And it has also map, and it has sorted map, something like this. If you see that somewhere, we will see. But later we will discuss how to like dynamic array, dynamic data structure, theoretically, okay? So one of the advantages is that these classes have their own implementation of adding and or sorting their elements. So for instance, what is the Java ArrayList is a class that has a method called add. Okay, so by using that add method, we can add any number of element as we needed. Similarly, we have remove method. There should have a list of all of these methods. So for instance, if we the other one, okay, here Java collection example. For instance, if we go on array list, for now let us understand about array list. If you understand array list, then you can use this, but later you will do other stuffs. Okay, so if you click on array list, so it will give you information, detailed information about array list. I want to see that array list. There you see there is an example. Array list has some methods: add method, set method, remove method. So, before I forget, you will see there are also what is that? There are also class. Okay, there are also array list, vector, and linked list. We will learn this later, but I think maybe I forgot. Sometimes you see set and list. There is a minor difference between set and a list. A list can contain duplicate elements. In a list, you can store duplicate elements, but in a set, you can store one element only one time. Set cannot contain, set does not contain duplicate elements. Okay? But a list can contain duplicate elements. Okay. So these, yes. No, it will not. So it will maybe it will use the previous one data. So I want to do some. Okay, you see that array list has some methods: add method, add word, clear method, own method, contains method, and for each method, get method, index of method. By using the sort method, remove if the element exists. By using this method, we can easily what is called input, output, like sorting operation in our array. While in order to do a sort operation, you have to write a large program in your static array. But by using, for instance, this sort method, let us give an example of sort method. Easily we can is there a sort method over here? Okay, we can implement sorting algorithm over here. Okay, but for in your test, if you are asked to, you will be asked to write your own algorithm using a static array, not this dynamic array. Okay. I'm looking for some short problem that we can discuss. This one. If I do a Google search about array list example, Java array list example. Okay. We see here, or maybe in W3 schools, you can get some. I got it. Okay, so in order to use your array list, okay, so you have to use, okay, the array, you have to import the array list class in Java. So the array list class is defined within Java utility package. Okay, so let us copy these lines of code and let us create a new RE in Java array list example 1. Let us create by this name. We have full program. Okay, there is full program. Okay, let us replace this program by our code. Okay, so now let us see what happens. So here, if we run this program, there is an error. Okay. The problem is that I replaced the code. Array list ext. Let us get this code. I need only this. I need only this. This is not dynamic. Okay. So this is our code. How to create an array list. So this is my array list. Okay. Tell about this later in a few minutes. Okay. And this is my array list name. Cars. I can give you any name. Okay. Then equal to new array list. Okay. For now, let us delete this part. Now let us delete this part. Okay. My array list name equal to new array list. Okay, and in order to use this, I need to import this array list class. This is why at the top I need to implement this. Now let us run this. Hopefully it will work. So what are we doing here? So we created an array list named cars. Okay, and we added it's a cars dot add. We added first a car element, name of a car, for instance anything Volvo, then BMW, then Ford, then Mazda, whatever at the end, just in order to all elements this array list. So whatever we just need to do print and car, then it is printing this way. It is printing as an array. There is another way if you want to convert this, if you want to print this one by one. There is also a way, also that way. So for now, let us add one more. So cars dot add method. Then we let us add, see, same method do Honda. Okay, let us do another add. Let us do another method, cars add. Let us do Toyota. Okay. So it is okay as many elements you add in your array list, it will work. Program, you see that output. You see, I got this, all of this. Okay, so let us copy this. Let us copy this and paste a few more times. See that how many so I pasted randomly a few times. Okay, so now let us run it again. Okay, so you see, I got all of my elements right over here. So this array list has some other methods. Okay, for instance, if I want to say how many elements I do have here, okay, do I no, so cars dot maybe count or what is the called total. You know how is the method for sum size? Okay, okay, okay. It is size method, right? Okay, it is size. So it will tell you size method. So it will tell you how many elements I do have in my array list. Okay, 42. That's it. Okay, there are methods already. A few minutes ago, we showed that there are methods sort, right? Array list sort method. For instance, if we use sort method, then all of the elements will be sorted. Okay, so my goal, okay, so then, okay, I forgot to include this one in the announcement. So even in the W3 school, if you spend some time over here, you will get some idea about ArrayList. It's very easy, small, it's a very small description and some, there are some, yeah. Okay, for instance, but if you want another, there is another way. If you wanted to print all of our elements like this way, one by one. Okay, so if I do, instead of printing all together as a list, you see the list is printed within square bracket. I want to print one by one. So it's a string. Okay, I will tell you why we are going to use string. Okay, this colon means in. Okay, string I in cars. Okay, println I. So if I run this program again, let's see what happens. Okay, so one error. Is this what is that? In. Okay. Take over here. Okay. Okay, I'm coming here. I will tell you what is the reason that it's not working here. Okay. like the startup or introduction of an array list, the collection. Okay, so let us, we don't need this much. Let us delete this. Let us bring all together in one line, one page. Okay, in this program, you see that what is my array list? Dynamic array type is an array list, right? If I would use set, if I use set, then I cannot, I would not be able to have duplicate elements. All elements with one element. Please let us try with set. But for now, maybe you do not need for your initial lab, you do not need to know set, but if you understand array list, I like everybody to practice at least with array list. Okay. Now, at this point, anyone has any question so far? Everybody understand? Okay, now we will discuss generics. Okay, then what is called a generics? Why it is called generics? Generics is, I'm not sure, I do not understand why the developer called that generics. I understand that in different way. Okay, let me tell you what is a generic. There is another topic, generic. Okay, so in this array list, we are declaring the array that we did not declare its data type. There is no data type, right? Okay, no data type. Okay, for instance, what happens if I this car, and since there is no data type, I am not aware about data type. So how about if I do like this? Instead of adding a string, if I want to add number 1, okay, maybe number 2, number 3, something like this. Number 2, number 3, something like this. Or sometimes some numeric numbers or decimal number 1.45, something. Because I am not restricted with this data type, right? I don't know its data type. So I may think that I can add any kind of data. Try to run this program. Okay, it is working. It is working now. Okay. For instance, now it is working for multiple kinds of data. Working for string, it is working for integer, it is working for decimal number. Okay, but since there is no restriction in its data type, so sometime in my operation, I may try to add all of these numbers, elements. Or I may try to find the average, or maybe mean, or median, or more, something, statistical operation, right? I know that I cannot add a numeric number with a string. Sorry, I cannot add a string with a numeric number. I can remember that we can add a string with a numeric number. So for instance, let me show you, before I go there, let me show you something. So anyone please tell me what will be the output? My cars. Okay. Okay. Why is doing true? This is not a good editor. Okay. Let me do this. So int x equal to 2, 3, y equal to 50. Okay, plus x y. Okay, can anyone, what will be the output of this line? Can anyone guess? Okay, let me make it easier. So if I say what will be the output of this line? Print x plus y. What will be the output of this line? 53. We are clear, right? Okay, then what will be the output of this line? Micah? Anyone? Any idea? 3? Yes. What is your name? Andrew is correct. Let us run this program until this. I'm telling you. You see, this line we did right? This is 53. Here, what is happening? It's showing my cars, then instead of showing 53, it is showing me 3550. Because one of the characteristics of that if you start with a string and concatenate something with a string, then final result becomes a string. So this 53 is not a number over here. 350. It is not 350. It is 350. String 350. Okay. It is becoming as a whole as a string. Okay. Now let us do one more thing. There is a quiz question like this. Yeah. Okay, what do you think that what will be printed for this line? What do you think? Yeah. Okay, so we will compare the output from line number 12 and 14. 53 micros. Okay, what is the reason? The reason is when you start to concatenate something starting with a string, everything becomes a string. For your leading here is not a string, right? Number, right? So that it is they are adding this up. So they are making x plus y, then 53, then micros. Is the difference between this? Huh? No, see, even I would put without bracket. Here's a good question. I'm coming 53 mica, right? Bracket was not a matter. You thought a bracket was a matter? No. Bracket does not matter. You see, I got 53, right? So you understand something new? Okay. Do something unofficial. Okay. Now we see that there are some limitations, right? Right? So in this case, for instance, if we have mixed data in our array, even if it is a dynamic array, okay, our static array does not allow this in a dynamic array. But later, if we want to do any operation that does not mess with data type, then we may get a trouble, right? Right? In our program, sometime maybe our program will crash. Our whole application will crash. So in order to avoid that possible, what is that, fault, we use one kind of restriction. Generics is kind of restriction that at the time you declare your dynamic array list or collection element, you will specify its data type. How do you specify its data type? By using angle bracket, and within angle bracket you will paste string, for instance string. Okay, sorry, string. That means by telling this string that you are telling that your car array will receive only, understand? So by telling this line 7 and by adding this string within is called, what kind of is called, bracket, right? Restricting that, we are giving a restriction, additional restriction, that our cars will only string type value. Understand? So how do we do that? We have to put both sides. On both sides, we have to put this within this, and this is called generics. So once you do that, you see that our program is showing some error, right? What is the error? Now, can you guess the error? Line number 25 to 28, right? Why the error is? Can anyone please tell me? So I have restricted that my cars, this array list will receive what? Only string type, right? But by intentionally or unintentionally, I was violate that, right? So it is checking, program checks this error in compile time. So it's compile time. So this is a good thing, right? It is checking your error compile time. That means there is a less scope that your program will give you an runtime. So in order to run this program, you must fix this, right? Okay. So if I hide this or uncommented lines, now see that error has gone, right? Now I can run it. So now you understand what is generic. The idea of generic is kind of restriction, right? Give a restriction in compile time restriction that will restrict you not to have any unauthorized data in your array list. Okay. So now let me do something else. Okay. So if I want to do int over here, think. You see that? Okay, so it will not work in int, I will not integer. I have to give Repl data types. Okay, so we will know that later. So that, okay, so now if I give it integer, okay, then it is showing me error for this, right? What is the reason? It's not showing me error for this, but it's showing me error for this, right? Because this is double type, right? It's not integer type. Okay, so if I comment out this, okay, then these are showing me error, right? What is the reason again? Everybody clear? Because I restricted my array list to contain only integer type data. So this is called generics. I don't understand why people call this generics. It would be easier to remember if the call is restricted, but they call it generics. Okay, so now let us go back to string. Okay, so if we go back to string over here, then we are getting error for this, right? Integer. So I don't need this. For now, let me delete this. Okay, now hopefully I can delete this. Okay, because all of my data are integer type, right? Type. Hopefully I will be able to do this. See. Okay. You see now the difference between line number 24 and the line number 9. Remember that previously did not work, right? This line did not work. What was the reason? Because when I did not restrict this, if I do not give this, you see that, let me go it again. If I do not give this, if I do not make this data type restricted, then it will not work. This line number 27 will not work. Still, compiler does not know what kind of elements the car. Okay, but when restricted it with string type, then it will work. Okay. So last thing, let us do what is the difference between cars and this? This to print all of my cars in one by very simply. Okay. Other than print all of them by using a for loop. What is the difference? Here you see that this output of this come within, this come as a list. Okay, they're coming as an individual element without this angle bracket. Okay, so now there are other methods that we can do. So let us see whether you see that we got one method size. It is giving me size, how many elements it has. There are other methods, maybe contains, maybe I say Honda. Okay, then can anyone guess what will be output of this line? Yes, it will check whether this element exists in the list or not. If it exists, it will give a true value. If it does not exist, it will give a false value. Okay, so we expect this line will give us a true value. So I got true. Okay. Okay, let me do a little bit different. Let me do A in uppercase, Honda. What do you think? Yes, we will get a false result, right? Because this one is case sensitive. It will exactly match, try to find exactly same thing. Okay? So you understand something? This is the thing. Now you got, I believe you got a good introduction point of work with ArrayList. Now do a Google search and I give you some information, other information about some sources about generics and collection classes. So do this. Okay. So now let me do it quickly. Let me quickly in C#. How many people are taking C#? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's good number. Okay. Never mind. I'm a fan of Java. Okay. So, but please remind me sometime if I forget to do something on. Okay, so let us do another program. Good. Let me run this. So not a on. What is that called? Collection dot array list. Using static instead. Let me copy this. I don't know what is the error coming from. Okay, there are some examples over here. So it should give me this kind of. Okay, so in C sharp, almost similar format, but in C sharp, you will see A is in uppercase. If I go other examples, okay, array list, this is reliable source, I like. Array list 1 equal to new array list add. People can help me to my error. What is my error over here? 5 error. Okay, it says A1 does not exist in the context. What is the A1? Okay. Oh, L, right? I see. Okay. Number 19? Okay. AL. Okay, got it. Okay, the minor mistake is invisible. Okay, so it's same thing, right? Almost in C sharp? Almost C sharp is same thing. So people who are taking C sharp, so please do some practice, and people who are taking Java, please do some practice about array list. Okay, so before we leave, just let me see our schedule and make some announcement. Okay, so okay, so according to our schedule, we do not have our class on Monday, but that will not affect your section, right? We are meeting here Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay, so in our next class, we will start with object-oriented programming concept. Public, private, protected, and then static modifier. Okay, by next week we want to cover this. Okay, and your final your test one will cover whatever we cover up next week. Okay, and there is a test. Remember that test day will be either your section or either 12, 11, or 12. Whenever you did match. You did matches, okay? Your schedule match. Your first test will be. Okay, so people who are new, please start studying. Be prepared for the. Okay. Thank you so much, and you have a good night tonight.